Imagine waking up tomorrow and everything is gone. Not the power, not the water, the internet, your bank, your messages, your maps, your news, all of it simply switched off. Now imagine that's not tomorrow. It's today. And it's been that way for over 6 weeks straight. What you're about to hear is not a hypothetical. It is happening right now to millions of people in one of the most connected regions on Earth. On February 28, 2026, Iran's internet went dark. Not partially, not selectively. The entire nation was effectively disconnected from the global digital world. As of April 12, 2026, that blackout had been running for 43 consecutive days, 1,008 hours of near total digital silence. The internet monitoring group NetBlocks has been tracking this outage in real time, confirming it as one of the most complete national shutdowns the modern world has ever recorded. The only people with any semblance of access are government workers operating on heavily restricted connections. For everyone else, the digital world simply does not exist. To understand why this matters so deeply, you have to go back to the early 2010s, to a period the world came to call the Arab Spring. During that wave of civil unrest, governments across the region discovered something alarming and, for those in power, something useful. The internet, which had been celebrated as a tool of liberation and connection, had a vulnerability. It flowed through a limited number of physical gateways, controlled by state-owned or state-regulated telecommunications companies. Pull the right levers, and you could sever an entire nation's connection to the outside world. In 2011, Egypt did exactly that, shutting down its internet for several days to disrupt protests. That event was a turning point. It demonstrated to governments worldwide that the internet could be weaponized as a tool of control, not just communication. In the years that followed, dozens of countries used short-term shutdowns during elections, protests, and periods of civil unrest. The tactic spread quietly, almost without public debate. What was once unthinkable became a playbook. Iran's current blackout doesn't just follow that playbook, it rewrites it entirely. Here are the facts that make this shutdown unlike anything we've seen in over a decade. First, the scale. 1,008 hours is 6 full weeks. It is longer than the entire span of a FIFA World Cup tournament from opening match to final. During that time, millions of citizens have been cut off from online education, digital banking, and basic communication with family members living abroad. Second, the mechanism. This is not a slowdown or a targeted block of specific apps. Authorities severed the digital gateways at their source, a coordinated effort across state-controlled telecommunications infrastructure. It is the digital equivalent of pulling up a drawbridge around an entire country. Third, the information vacuum it creates. When the internet goes dark, the only narrative left standing is the one controlled by the state. Citizens cannot verify information, cannot share what they are witnessing, and cannot reach the outside world. It is a one-sided conversation by design. And fourth, the human cost. Small business owners who relied on e-commerce have seen their livelihoods disappear. Students dependent on online resources have been left with nothing. Families separated by borders cannot make a simple video call. What makes this moment so significant is not just its duration, it is what the duration reveals. A shutdown lasting a few days is a reactive measure. A government in a moment of panic, reaching for a blunt instrument. A shutdown lasting over 6 weeks is something else entirely. It is a sustained policy, a strategic choice, and it forces a question that the connected world has not fully reckoned with. What happens to a generation of people who are cut off from the defining technology of our time for over a month? The internet was built on a foundational idea: resilience, decentralization, connection. It began as a project designed to survive catastrophe. The deep irony is that the very architecture of that invention is now being used to engineer the exact opposite: a centralized point of failure, deliberately activated to enforce mass disconnection. The most powerful tool for global connection has become, in the hands of those who control its infrastructure, the most effective wall ever built. The 1,008-hour blackout in Iran is not just a number. It is a record that no country should want to hold, and a warning that every connected society should take seriously. It proves that access to information is not guaranteed simply because the technology exists. It can be taken away. And the people living through it right now are not statistics. They are students, parents, business owners, and citizens sitting in digital darkness while the rest of the world scrolls on. That is the story worth telling. If you want more stories like this one, subscribe to FactStormHub. And for the full breakdown with sources, visit factstormhub.com.